All right. Camron Smith here with head coach Billy Donovan of the Chicago Bulls. Billy, let's just start it here, man. How was your summer? Like, how are you feeling coming into Media Day and training camp?
I'm excited, looking forward to it. It was a busy summer.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter graduated from college.
Nice. Congratulations.
My oldest daughter got married. And my oldest son just had their second child this summer. So it was pretty busy, but all good, all good.
A lot of life happening for sure. Yeah. So when you think about just this team and you have your expectations for this group and what you can be for the 24-25 season, when you sat down just internally with yourself, but then also your coaching staff and Arturis, what was the kind of theme that you had for this team coming into the season of what we can be?
Yeah, I think there's a part of like trying to blend, the development piece with some younger players, but also, what are the things you have to do to win? The things that go into winning. Yeah. And, I think for us, there's an integrity to competition all the time, which I respect. And, we want to go out there and be a team that, is competing not only over 82 games, but we're doing things that are going to that winning requires.
Gotcha.
And I think a lot of times people think development is a guy just playing in between the lines, but the development is even between the lines. But how do they study opposing teams? How do they go through personnel and scouting reports? How do they eat? How do they sleep? How do they take care of themselves? How do they come in and do rehab and lift and stay on things and develop a routine? Like some of our players, we've got to help them with those things besides what they do between the lines.
Right.
So I think the totality of doing the things that you need to do as a player to be individually successful, but also to impact the group and impact winning.
Yeah, man. Speaking of impacting winning, the depth of the team is something that can be very special from a guard and also forward standpoint. This is something obviously that How are you planning to try and utilize that depth to impact winning?
Well, I think our depth is really in the backcourt. We've got a lot of backcourt players, and I think it can be a unique situation for us, but it's going to require a lot of sacrifice because most backcourt players are most effective when the ball's in their hands, and you can't have the ball just in one player's hands all the time. We're going to have to play in a way where we're trying to utilize and take advantage of each other's skill sets. Right. So, you look at a guy like Josh Giddey coming in here and what Kobe did last year and Zach being back. Ayo had a great year last year. You add Duarte, you have Dalen Terry, Javon Carter. There's a lot of backcourt players. So we're going to all have to function and play well together.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You mentioned Zach and him being back with his team. You just sat down with him. And just from a body language type standpoint, it looks like he's ready to go. He's just understanding that he's been down for a long time, obviously being out with the injury, but also a guy that has spent that time making sure that mentally and also physically that he's ready to go for the team. So how does he factor in to this movement that the team and the franchise has with this group?
Yeah, he was in here in September, and it was really the best I've seen him look coming into a training camp physically. He had knee surgery a couple of summers ago, and he was kind of rehabbing through that, and probably took him a little bit of time to get his legs under him. Yeah. This year his season was cut short with the foot injury and then having to have surgery. But he's had a really good ramp-up period this summer. He's got himself in very, very good shape. And, I think this will be at least the season and probably a little bit for him that he's actually starting healthy, which is good.
Yeah, we've seen a lot with Lonzo in terms of his growth, in terms of just the rehab that he's undergone, obviously the 3 surgeries on that knee. And him being able to be at this point, when you talked to Kobe, he said that it's a blessing in a sense to just being able to see his perseverance with that. So how do you envision Lonzo with this upcoming season and the impact that he can have with this team?
I'm happy that he's going to get a chance to play it. But I also look at Lonzo from the perspective is how does he create a role for himself. Clearly he's not in a position to play or absorb the amount of minutes he did early in his career. But he can still be a very productive and effective player. The things that we don't know because he's been out for so long and he's just getting back to playing is what does the management of him look like? He plays a game. What's the next day look like? What are the things to do? Where is that minute that's a sweet spot for him where he can be a consistent guy that's available. And then how do you help him get into a situation that not only this season but beyond this season he can continue to play?
Yeah. Talking about Lonzo and Zach and individually, and then kind of touched on things as a team. For yourself, what do you think is the greatest area of improvement for this team moving into 2024-25?
Well, I think you always got to try to play to your team's strengths. I think that we've got to play way more up-tempo than we have in the past. I think I said in the past, I just didn't feel like our team was really built to play fast. I think that this team can do that. I think that's one thing. I think the other thing we're going to have to put a huge focus on is the fact that defensively we're going to have to do it collectively as a group.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do different things, maybe come up with different schemes, different situations. You know, we lost a player in Alex Caruso who was such an elite defender and could a lot of times just guard guys one-on-one. We may be in a situation where we've got to provide more help. So how we can build out an identity defensively.
All right, Billy, look forward to seeing you guys
Great
this
to
upcoming
see you.
season.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
the time.